Hello, everybody. Today is January 13th, Wednesday, January 13th. There's 7 days left, 1 week left of the Trump administration until President elect Biden and Vice President elect Harris are sworn in to serve a 4 year term ending on January 20th, 2025. So there's a lot to cover in those 4 years, and hopefully in 4 years after that, wherever I am at. But right now, today, I have a few things to discuss. First thing, obviously, we'll be discussing the Georgia runoff elections. I wanted to wait about a week. It's been about a week to talk about the elections because, just to look at stuff, just to look at what happened. Obviously, the Democrats have essentially won the Senate, even though it is a tie. Kamala Harris will be breaking that tie, and if they manage to have unity all the way from Bernie Sanders to Joe Manchin, then they will be able to get some important legislation that they've been wanting to get done over the past 4 years or actually not even the past 4 years, over the past 10 years since Republicans took the House back in 2010. Now that they do have essentially a trifecta in government, even though they are small majorities in both chambers of Congress, it's a trifecta nonetheless. Democrats have a 51-50 seat majority in the Senate, and I think a 4 seat majority in the House, a 222, and they need 218 for a majority. Maybe a 5 seat, I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, this explains it up here if you're interested in it. Also, the other thing I'd like to be talking about today is when I will be releasing videos, because I do think that I really haven't kept a schedule, honestly, since I've made my channel about half a year ago in June, I think 18th was my first video, my first prediction video for 2020. But I really haven't kept a schedule when I release videos. So my new, schedule, I'm probably at least going to be releasing videos on Wednesday today and on Sunday, or Saturday actually. Sunday during the weekend. So if you want to make sure, and hopefully I'll be able to keep this going for a long period of time, at least hopefully through 2021, covering the elections and whatever else I feel the need to cover going on in politics. This account is going to not only cover at this point elections going forward, especially in the next year, because there really isn't many elections to cover. I know there's the New York mayoral race, but not really much anything that is necessary to cover. 2022 will be the next big thing. So I'll probably be going through just trying to possibly explain politics at the moment, what's going on, foreign policy, domestic policy, social policy, just trying to, in economic, whatever, throughout the next year in the Democrat-controlled federal government, at least, and I guess in state governments, but that's what I'll be doing, and there are a few elections, and I'll probably do, and they're not going to be able to have any legislation passed soon, at least. Obviously, impeachment's going on right now. I'm really not going to cover that. I just want to start covering what's going to be going on in the Biden administration and not the end of the Trump administration. But nonetheless, that there is impeachment going on, second impeachment, and I don't think that they have votes for complete removal. I know that many people are hopeful that Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham and a bunch of Republicans will shift to the Democrats and they'll be able to get 67 votes in the United States Senate for removal, which essentially would prevent Trump from running again in 2024. I don't think that will happen, but they are hoping that they can do that. I think at most they'll get 2 or 3 Republican senators, maybe. Actually, no, probably 5 or 6, maybe 7, maybe even 10, but they don't have 17 Republican senators to go along with them. They only had 10 Republican. Anyway, I'm going off track here. Okay, right now I'm going to be going over the Georgia special races. So, well, I have already mentioned this. Raphael Warnock and Jon Ossoff won their Senate races. That makes the Senate 50-50 or 51-50, because Vice President Harris will be breaking the ties in the future. Chuck Schumer has shown that he and Harry Reid before him have shown that they are really good at keeping their caucus together, keeping their party together, and that Chuck Schumer honestly has complete control over what the Democrats will vote on and what they will not vote on. This was seen pretty much through Kavanaugh. He got essentially every single Democrat except for Joe Manchin, whose vote really didn't matter in the end. But he got vulnerable Democrats in those elections to go ahead and vote against Kavanaugh. He got Heidi Heitkamp, Claire McCaskill, Joe Donnelly, a bunch of people that he honestly had complete control of his whole caucus, and he was able to, excuse me, I don't know about that background noise, and he was able to consolidate a large portion of the party. Now, I know he barely has a majority, but I still think he'll be able to do it, and Nancy Pelosi will be able to control her caucus in the House. Anyway, Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock won. Raphael Warnock actually won by 2% in Georgia. The Democrats got 90% of the turnout from the 2020 election a few months ago, and that was, and I don't know what that was. And the Republicans got 87% of the turnout, which gave, this is why at least, the two Democrats did very well, because they did get 3% more turnout than the Republicans did from 2020 election. And Joe Biden did win in 2020, or win Georgia in 2020. So, Jon Ossoff didn't win as much as David Perdue. Kelly Loeffler, very unpopular. Well, not very unpopular, but unpopular in the state. Obviously, when you look at the stock market and what happened with that, I don't know if she'll run in 2022. I don't think it's a good idea for Republicans to run somebody who lost again. Taking a look at Martha McSally, who has now run 2 times in a row. Actually, yeah, 2 times in a row. I was going to say 3, but it's 2. And lost twice by the same margins. Clearly not a good candidate to run. They need somebody else to be the nominee. And I think the same with Georgia. I don't think Perdue or Loeffler or the governor of Georgia should run, or the Secretary of State of Georgia should run. They need to find better candidates so that they could possibly retake the Senate in 2022. Now, it's going to be a lot harder for them to do that now because there are more vulnerable Republican seats, and which is why it was good that the Democrats were able to take these 2 seats. It's going to make it a lot harder, and possibly even harder for them to keep their seats because of vulnerable positions in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and even North Carolina. Those are 3 Republican vulnerable seats. I do think Florida, Ohio, Iowa will all go Republicans handily, but these Georgia seats help them a lot. Raphael Warnock managed to win his seat. That was actually the one, and I'll go right ahead and I'll say my prediction wasn't correct. I said that if one will go, the other will go, and I predict the 2 Republicans would win, and the 2 Democrats ended up winning. There was no split ticket voting, really at all, and I was pretty much expected of that, but I just thought that the Republicans would win it, especially since the Democrats usually have lower turnout after they had a pretty good election in 2020. Now 2021 election in Georgia. And Jon Ossoff also did win his seat by less than Raphael Warnock. But when you look at it, Kelly Loeffler, more unpopular than David Perdue, got around 20,000 less votes than David Perdue. And Jon Ossoff actually got 20,000 less votes than Raphael Warnock, which made it a bit closer. But they still won. Joe Biden obviously was campaigning down there for them. But 2022 is supposed to be a Republican year, just based off of historical precedents. I don't know if that'll happen again. Maybe it'll break precedent. But if it doesn't, they'll probably retake the House and possibly the Senate. Possibly. That's a big possibly, because it is going to be hard. If this was the 2018 map in a 2022 wave year, then Republicans could definitely take back the Senate. They could win North Carolina, North Dakota, and Montana, and Missouri, and Indiana, and West Virginia, and Ohio, possibly Wisconsin or Michigan or Pennsylvania, all of those seats in the special election. They could have done much better. That was like 55 of these 6 seats. Obviously, that was a 2018 wave year for Democrats, but that is what we're looking at right now. A 2022 wave year for Republicans, most likely gaining control of the House, given the extremely small majorities in both chambers of Congress, but the House most likely, given the fact that there are much more toss-up races in the House because there are much more seats in the House, and the Senate as well, less seats. So it is harder to gain a majority or lose the majority, which is why anyway it's 50-50. So it's not like they do have the exact same amount of senators, Republican and Democrat, in the Senate. It's just that the Democrats have the tiebreaker, which makes Chuck Schumer to be the Senate Majority Leader. Mitch McConnell will become the Senate Minority Leader, essentially, but not really, because they do have to. When you look at committees, they're going to have to essentially make it even, which is going to be a bit harder for Democrats to get things through, but they probably will. But anyway, this is just my evaluation. I was wrong with the Georgia election. I thought both Republicans would win. I said it would be it'd either be one Republican or the Democrats. Both of them would, and the Democrats ended up winning Georgia. So good for the Democrats. They have control of the Senate. Now they have the trifecta in government they need. Still a few things blocking complete power for the Democrats. When you look at the Supreme Court, when you look at state legislatures, a lot of the state legislatures did very well for Republicans. When you look at New Hampshire, now a complete Republican trifecta in government. Uh, Republican governor in Massachusetts, or not Massachusetts actually maybe Massachusetts, but Vermont, yeah, Massachusetts as well. Charlie Baker. So Republicans still did well, and yeah, with at least state level, and Democrats did well federally. Still have small majorities, but this is just what I'm talking about. This is a shorter video. I'm probably going to be obviously releasing my next video hopefully Saturday or Sunday, and then another one Wednesday, and then continually. Unless something pops up. So hopefully you guys can turn on the notifications and get ready for more YouTube videos. And I'm excited to continue to make videos in the future. Anyway, have a nice day, and make sure to subscribe to my channel.